Hello, and thanks for listening to Beards and Bitcoins, a crypto podcast for the man's man and the ladies who love them. Joined as always, I'm here with my co-host. We got a super exciting show for you guys today. Jay Chains, tell them what's coming up.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Really quick, right before we get to news break, we've got a special announcement, so be ready for that. Today on the show, during news break, we're going to be talking about a crypto company acquisition, merger, buyout, whatever you want to call it. It's huge. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to some people, but my man Ben's got hopefully the inside scoop for us, so we'll get into that. For token time, we're going to talk about a coin that I personally lost a good amount of money on, but that was back in the day. It seems to be making a resurgence, so we look forward to getting into that, seeing what's going on. After token time, we've got a new segment called What You Thinking, and that's going to be fun. We're really excited to show you what this one's all about, and then we'll wrap it up with Manspreading. This is culture at its finest right now here in America. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You got to listen. Manspreading today is going to be out of control.
Phenomenal. It's going to be so good. I can't wait to get into what we're going to talk about. You guys know Manspreading is probably everybody's favorite segment. I mean, we're just talking about some dude stuff, and it is going to be super hyped today. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. So, Jay, where are you at right now?
I'm in Wuhan, China. I took a one-way picture flight for my green screen to Wuhan, China.
Yeah, if you guys are listening and you're not watching, he has a Wuhan, China background. I've been a little worried about him. He's had a little bit of a cough, so concerned that he could die. But he's gone to the source to find out, whether or not this thing's really dangerous.
I'm going to get the real antibodies, but no, on a serious note. No, I am at home, still in the self-quarantine, doing my thing. Actually picked up a new interest. I look forward to exploring this in the next couple of weeks, but I am learning about bonsai.
Wow. Bonsai. That is just cutting edge right there.
Man, I'm taking it back. That's why I went to Wuhan. I'm going to Japan after this. I am going to be figuring out the exact arts. I got to keep my inner chi, man. Keeping a tiger locked in a cage is no good. So, I'm practicing my Zen. What are you doing these days to kind of keep yourself from losing your mind, just being locked at home?
Well, my life isn't that much different. I was at home most of the time anyways. But, I've been playing some video games with the kids. We've been watching some TV. But mostly I've just been using this time to work and just bust out, more and more videos and things like that. I got really hooked on a Netflix show that we'll talk about in a little bit, but I've been catching up on Netflix, some shows I've been meaning to get around and watch that I haven't had the opportunity to, and things like that. I'm really upset though that one of my favorite shows, The Walking Dead, the finale did not get done in the post-editing process because of what we're facing. And so the finale, which is supposed to be like 2 Sundays from now, has been pushed off until later in the year. We don't even know when we're going to get it. So that's definitely been really sad. But it's, it's been one of these things where, people are turning to other stuff. They're trying to learn things and, get different sources of entertainment, which actually ties into the coin we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. So stay tuned for that. But other than bonsai, like how have you been coping with this time? You've been up to something very interesting, which I would love for you to talk about on the podcast. Tell everybody what you and your wife have been doing.
Absolutely. So,
well, that sounded really dirty. Okay, but you guys have okay. Everybody's quarantined. Everybody knows what them and their wives are doing. But what extra are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we are making, now everybody's making face masks for all the medical workers. What we're doing is making a special headband with buttons on the back so that they can hook their face mask to that, because what we're hearing is that a lot of medical workers are working 12-hour shifts with those masks on, the earlobes and stuff are getting irritated, bleedy and all that stuff. So we're making these headbands with buttons so they can hook their masks on it to kind of keep their ears from being irritated. And man, we sent out a bunch to a local hospital here in Austin. And then today we've got a hospital in Spokane, Washington, and then somewhere in Wisconsin we're sending to. and then I've got like one or two other orders that that we got to fulfill in the next couple of days. But yeah, man, it's just, you know, we're at home. My wife's crafty. She taught me how to run a sewing machine, which I never thought.
Imagine J Chain's running a sewing machine.
I'll post a picture because my wife took one. She took a little video. She thinks it looks cute. I certainly don't ever want to be referred to as cute.
Well, I think you're cute. Does that count?
I don't want to be cute. I want to be dashing and manly, not cute.
You are a dashingly manly, cute boy, and I like that about you. Yeah, but I mean, what you guys are doing with that is so awesome. And I will tell you, I have never in my life been more comfortable with my career choice of being a crypto influencer, a TikTok influencer, and whatever else I do, than when I look at pictures from nurses and doctors right now.
Oh man, they are on the front line. They are
Absolutely.
putting themselves in jeopardy every single day to make sure that, you know, people like us, or not people like us because we're smart enough and stayed at home, but you know, the people that don't. Like, I just heard something, you know, how those idiot kids went to spring break. They still did spring break.
Oh, they came back to Austin, didn't they?
Yeah, a group of like 30 of them all came back, tested positive. They're all sick as dogs. Like, come on, just stay home. Just figure it out.
What about the Liberty University in Virginia, which I was actually getting a master's degree at some point, and I didn't finish. They bucked the trend in Virginia, where Virginia shut down all the schools. They said, we are going to stay open. And what happened? The first day they came back from spring break, 12 kids are now quarantined. 3 got tested. 1 tested positive. 1, they're still waiting on the results, and there was 1 negative. So, you know, thanks to them being really dumb, now they got kids that are going to be going back and giving it to their families and stuff like that. So heed the words of the quarantine or face the consequences. Like, that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of heeding the words, it would be incumbent upon us to thank our sponsor of this show for allowing us to continue to do this and bring the show to you week in, week out. So big shout out to Monarch. The Beards and Bitcoins crypto podcast, as you know, is sponsored and brought to you by Monarch Wallet. Rule your own financial kingdom from the palm of your hand.
That is right, Justin. A team at Monarch is working hard to bring you the one app to access all the best crypto services. They believe in delivering tech, not hype.
Nice. And with the universal decentralized Monarch wallet, you can buy, store, spend, and earn crypto. And with Monarch Pay, you can set up and accept reoccurring crypto payments.
Absolutely. And for more info, make sure you guys check out Monarch Wallet or monarchtoken.io today. So big thank you to the sponsors. But we got a big announcement for you guys. Something that we've had in the works here for a while, and we just now have really gotten going. As you guys can see, Justin is wearing, if you're watching, a Beards and Bitcoin shirt. We really haven't had those available in a long time, but we have had so many people say, like, hey, we want a way to wear Beards and Bitcoin merch. Oh, okay, well, maybe nobody said that. Okay, nobody said that, but we know you're thinking it. Okay, isn't that right?
I know that my mom has asked to order a shirt. So.
And that is very important because we needed the older generation, like older than us, period. And she's not old. She's like barely over 40, I think. But you know, we need the older generation rocking these shirts. We need the kids. I need to be selling them on TikTok. The kids got to be rocking these Beards and Bitcoin shirts. But one real cool thing we got is we now have a way for you to show your love for who is your favorite host. Okay. I used to think I was everyone's favorite host because I'm just everyone's favorite person in general. But I've discovered, like, my wife's favorite podcaster on this show is J Chains. And it really bothers me a lot. Okay.
Oh man, that to me is funny. Yeah. I love it.
That's a real thing that happened, guys, just so you know. She's very dedicated. She's very loyal to me, okay? Except when it comes to podcast voices. She said, J Chains has just got a radio voice. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I was like, thank you, hon. I appreciate that. But we have a way for you to show love.
So Mama Wild Things is Team J Chains, right?
She's Team J Chains for sure. We have Team J Chains and Team BitBoy shirts. So at some point, we will need to have a competition to see who sells the most, okay? So you can rock those shirts. If you guys want to check out the merch, all you got to do is go to beardsandbitcoins.com, go to the website, and there will be a tab for merch at the top. And then it's going to take you to, I have a larger merch website where I've got 4 different brands, and you can go to it'll take you to directly to the Beards and Bitcoins collection. So if you want to go do that, you can go to beardsandbitcoins.com and just click merch, and then you can buy, you know, all your heart's desires.
please buy some merch. I think there's like phone cases, hats, shirts, sweatshirts, backpacks, all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, we got to get some flat bills on there for you.
Oh, I got to get that crispy.
I'm not wearing hats anymore, so I don't know what to say. But all right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's jump into the next segment. We got some crazy news for you. News break.
All right, today for news break, Binance is possibly buying CoinMarketCap. And what kind of doesn't really make sense to me, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this, Ben, is that the price tag is $400 million. Now, I know that they do advertising. They don't have a product. I know that they are probably one of the largest, if not the largest website as far as traffic goes for cryptocurrency. But $400 million for a website. Talk to me.
Yeah. Well, it's tied for when it does happen, and I believe this is a done deal. I don't think that this would be out there in the public unless this was a done deal. There might have been maybe a tactic of releasing this to the public to see what the sentiment is on it before it's official. But to me, the reaction has not been nearly bad enough to warrant them not going through with it. Like, yes, some people have been upset with it, but not nearly to the level that it would require for this not to go through.
You know what I think? If it was Justin's son that bought it, the world would lose their mind, or the crypto world would have lost their mind.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I do agree with that. But I mean, people use Binance. People like Binance. Some people are haters on it, or whatever. People think it's getting too powerful, the same way Google got too powerful. And those are legitimate concerns. But at the end of the day, most people use Binance and like it. And I mean, people love BNB coin. I mean, think about what this could do for, BNB, the utility token of Binance itself. There's two acquisitions that were also $400 million. So this would be tied for number one ever. When Circle bought Poloniex, which it doesn't even own anymore, which is funny. And then when an investment group bought Bitstamp, those were also $400 million purchases.
So that seems to be kind of like the threshold for an acquisition, huh?
Yeah. And I would say that this one, to me, probably would be the only one that I feel like would warrant a $400 million price tag out of those. A lot of people are saying it doesn't make sense. Well, let's break down the numbers. CoinMarketCap is the number one most visited website in crypto. It's not even close.
Didn't a couple years ago, was this during the height of the last bull run? It actually was like the number 50th website in the world or something crazy like that?
It was right outside the top 100.
Okay.
It was like think somewhere between 100 and 115. It was literally almost a top 100 website in the world. That's like Craigslist, eBay, Google, Facebook, YouTube. Those are the most visited websites in the world. And it was right outside of those websites. Now it's somewhere in the 300 range, obviously, because there's not as much interest in crypto as there used to be. But CoinMarketCap is estimated to make between $20 and $30 million a year. So if the number was $30 million, okay, it would take Binance 13.3 years to recoup that money, okay? So does that sound like it's worth it to you? 13.3 years?
That's kind of a long time to get your ROI, unless you've got a plan to make it more successful.
And there you go. Like, I mean, to me, that's everything right there. Because what Binance is banking on is this becoming a top 50 website during a bull run. They're banking this on, number one, getting more traffic. Okay. And I believe that Binance is going to do everything in their power to push this into the mainstream. CoinMarketCap's not doing anything. It just exists. Binance will have active marketing methods to push it forward. Okay. That's number one. But number two, they're going to be able to push part of that traffic to their own website.
That's a good point.
So CoinMarketCap has 80% more traffic than Binance. So what that means, so almost twice as much traffic. So what that means is with as much money as Binance is making, that there's at least 80% of traffic out there that is researching coins that's not going to Binance. So they could almost double the amount of people using their site.
That's interesting. I mean that, yeah. Okay, when you look about it that way, so it's it's like the 1-2 combo. You're buying the number one site. You effectively become the largest traffic goer of all crypto searches.
Yeah, and I believe that they would. I have to believe that they will put some safeguards into place to keep it somewhat independent. But I mean, if Binance owns the site, if somebody does research on like volume, like let's say you're looking up, you're looking up Litecoin. Okay, you're looking up Litecoin. You go to the Litecoin chart. Right next to the chart, there's a button that says adjusted volume or trading. It says trading pairs, adjusted volume, something like that. You click that and it shows you all the trading pairs. Okay, so let's say that Coinbase had more volume for Litecoin than Binance. Well, Binance owns the site. So Binance could automatically put theirs to the top and not try to like manipulate it and say, we have more volume, but keep the numbers the same. They own the site. So they could just list their trading pairs first. And then after that is like, okay, now here is all the adjusted volume. And you can really look into that.
I wouldn't think that would be a good business practice though, because I mean, yeah, if it's transparent and you're putting, yeah, maybe you've got 50 million going through Binance, but you got 100 million going through OKX or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a good idea to like list your company first, even though it makes sense because it's your website. To me, that would be like a deceptive practice that you would be knowingly throwing people off.
Well, it would be deceptive if they change the volume numbers, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If the volume numbers were the same and you could literally look and say, oh, Coinbase has more volume than Binance, okay, but Binance owns the website, so it just puts it at the top, then that's still transparent. I think they could do things like that and still manage to have control of the narrative, but also remain transparent where people can see. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do that, okay?
Right.
But that's one example of if they control the website, how it could still be independent and it could still be, have objective research, but they could still do little tweaks. They may not do that. They may just put their own advertising up. They may make it easier for people to go to their website. I mean, that may be the plan.
And this is off topic, but I guess it kind of makes sense and it's a little similar. But my buddy was telling me, his brother is a big seller on Amazon, and recently it just came out that Amazon got in trouble apparently for hiding certain shippers that might have had shipping times less than say the Amazon preferred company right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like his brother,
insider Amazon fulfillment trading.
Yeah. Crazy. And I know that it's not, exactly related, but it's kind of that same kind of thing where it's, they're helping out, the people that are closerly. That's not even a real word.
No, I like it. It makes perfect sense. Closerly.
That they're, closerly acquainted with the company.
Well, this is where crypto gets a lot more attention on it for things like this because it's a financial area, but Google does this. I mean, think about it. Like, do you honestly believe Google is not tweaking their AdWords auctions, so that they're getting the prices for keywords are getting bid up more? They are. And also one thing Google's been accused of doing a lot in the past is that it sounds counterintuitive, but if you run Google AdWords campaigns, that they'll actually tweak their regular organic search algorithms to hurt you because they want you relying more on them for advertising, not doing it organically. And there is history of this throughout the history of, throughout business in general forever. So this isn't only something that came to crypto, but there's a lot of really interesting things about this acquisition. And I just did a video on this on my channel. And one thing I said is this good for decentralization? No, obviously not. Is it good for price of crypto? Yes, I do believe that it is. I think Binance being able to push this to mainstream and also being able to, make sure that they don't do things like CoinMarketCap removed South Korean exchanges at the peak of the bull market. And people point to that as the actual exact start to the bear market is when they removed South Korean exchanges temporarily from their site. And the market literally dipped $100 billion in one day, actually in a couple hours because they did that. And Binance is going to make sure that they don't do things like that because it's better for Binance when the price of crypto is strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that they did that. Or if I did, I've forgotten about it. That's crazy. But that would make sense why, all of a sudden there's this much money missing out of the market and people panic and sell. And
yeah. So
weren't a lot of those exchanges reporting fake volume though?
They still
With
are. All exchanges
that's
still
true.
are. Okay. So what's the difference?
Good point.
So there's been some things done to try to adjust fake volume or whatever, but it's a problem in crypto. It's going to continue to be a problem. I don't see it getting solved anytime soon. But there's so many interesting things about this for sure. Would love to continue talking about this. But one thing, the last thing I do want to say about it is though, and we don't have time to get too much into it, but Binance has announced there are 2 huge acquisitions it's making. This is obviously the first one, but we don't know what the second one is. And I'm just throwing this out. Total prediction. I have nothing to base this on other than some of the wording about the companies Binance is looking at. I wouldn't be surprised if they buy Cointelegraph.com.
Ooh. Because then they control everything that people are paying attention to.
Yeah, Cointelegraph is the number 1 crypto news website, bigger than CoinDesk.
So they'd have the news, they'd have the research, and then the ability to buy and sell.
Yeah, and Cointelegraph is right behind Binance and Coinbase in terms of traffic as well. So those are the top 4 websites in traffic in crypto: Binance, Coinbase, CoinDesk, and Cointelegraph. And I don't think
perfect triangulation of
exactly. And CoinDesk is not going to sell, but Cointelegraph is a really sketchy company. If any of you guys ever have some time to really dig deep in the rabbit trail of Cointelegraph, you're talking like Russian mafia, yeah, you're talking like anonymous founders. Nobody really just Google who owns Cointelegraph. It's just similarly to trying to Google who owned CoinMarketCap a few years ago before there was a huge expose done on Brandon Shez, the founder that was running it in an apartment building. So I think the overall, like I said, I think this is going to be good for the price of crypto. It's not great for decentralization, but it's definitely a fascinating story. But if you guys want to get more fascinating stuff or check out our merch, or you want the 21 best Bitcoin practices, make sure you guys visit our website. You can also get all episodes and news and show information there. Make sure you head on over to beardsandbitcoins.com to check all that out. And let's talk about token time. Token time. All right, so today we're going to be talking about Siacoin. Some people pronounce it Siacoin. I pronounce it Siacoin. I think it's supposed to be Sia. But regardless, we're going to be talking about it today. It's had a little bit of a surge. We're going to talk about why that is. It's a very interesting reason why the price went up recently. But first, Jay, why don't you tell us exactly what Siacoin is and tell us, I think you got a little story about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a nutshell, Siacoin, it's open source cloud storage. According to some sites, they do cloud storage systems that let anyone rent out your spare hard drive space or utilize people's spare hard drives to store files. So it's basically a way to share storage capabilities decentralized among peers. So I got to tell you, just give it to us. It's painful. This is one of the first coins I ever got into. I caught a falling knife in late January of 2018, and I thought that this was going to be the rebound. I don't know why. I can't remember why I thought it was going to be the rebound of the century, but I ended up
taking it.
Defined part of my crypto history. I've got a scar on my back. That was from one of those.
I wasn't able to save you from that one.
No, you weren't.
I've saved you from a few, but I didn't save you from that one. You took yes. It full in the head. But yeah. This is a coin that it had dipped way out of the top 100 at some point, but it has managed to return. Right now, it is ranked number 70 on the non-Binance owned CoinMarketCap.com, at least at the moment.
You know what's funny about that?
What's that?
You know what's funny about all this? Is when I was doing some research for today's show, when we were looking at the Siacoin, looking at the list, I actually switched out of Siacoin for Holochain. Holochain at one point was doing well, but now it's number 69. So both of my battle scars are 70 and 69.
Nothing like a 69 to do you in. So yeah, and I mean, just so everyone knows, I feel like a lot of people, they think jumping out of coins and into other coins is a great strategy. Usually, that's a great way to miss pumps. So just remember that. But right now, it is coming in number 70 on CoinMarketCap. It's up over the last day, 1.34%, but that doesn't really mean anything. It is a coin, so it is not. It has its own network. It's not an ERC20 or anything like that. So when you look at the price of this thing, man, it went so high. It was ridiculous. So right now it's coming in at let's see, looks like 19 sats. I think that is. It's coming in at about 1/10 of a penny. At its peak, it hit
like 40 cents or something.
Oh my gosh, dude. No, it hit 9 cents. It hit 9 cents at its peak.
Or 9 cents.
So that's a 90x from where it is now, just to get back to its all-time high. So it's an older coin. It's been around since 2016, but it's been absolutely brutalized up until February. So near the beginning or near the middle of February, it started having a huge rise in volume. It has fallen off a good bit. This week it did get a little bit of a pump, but some interesting news on why people are saying that it went up. What do you know anything about that, Jay?
So apparently, with what I see, the quarantine, obviously, there's a lot more people at home, a lot more people gaming. So this has started to show up in a lot more people's search for gamings. They've got their own game called Sky Games, and it's becoming popular among people searching for games during the quarantine.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense because, like we were talking about earlier, like people are looking for other stuff they want to do. I mean, people are sitting at home. Most people don't work from home. I mean, I think it's only like 6% of people work from home. So, yeah, so you and I are rare that we're at home all the time, and we already know how to use our time wisely. But imagine if you worked at Chili's, okay, and you were a waitress or you were a bartender and you were making pretty decent money, and now all of a sudden you have literally nothing to do. So people are looking to take up their time with things like games, and crypto gaming is definitely something that has seen a spike during this time. So is VR, and there's a lot of crypto VR projects as well.
Yeah, I think gaming is one of those things that it will be, I don't want to say single-handedly responsible, but it will be responsible for mass adoption of cryptocurrency. I think everybody can kind of feel that. One thing to note is that with Siacoin, they are at an all-time high as far as data that they're storing. Reading this article that they now have 834 terabytes of data stored on their network, which I'm going to smash myself with a nerd alert here.
Nerd alert.
But that 1 terabyte's 1,000 gigabytes. So at 834 terabytes, that's a lot of gigs, man.
Yeah, that is a lot of gigs. So it's definitely great that they're moving forward and actually making progress as a project. So definitely interesting stuff. Speaking of interesting stuff, we got a brand new segment for you guys. We're going to be debuting here in just a minute. But if you guys have any tokens that you ever want us to talk about, make sure you guys head on over to the Beards and Bitcoins Telegram. It is t.me/beards and Bitcoins. And you can come in there and drop us, some different tokens that you'd like for us to talk about during token time. And you can also, there's also ways that you can talk to us and ask questions to us. We're going to be telling you more about that right now. What you thinking?
All right, y'all. For the new segment, What You Thinking, we are going to be listening to you. You get the opportunity to send us an audio message, and we will pick it, we'll read it on air, and we will chit-chat about it. In order to do that, you make sure you visit ask.beards.live, and then from there you can go and record your audio question. And again, we will take the time to answer that on What You Thinking.
That's right. So today's question is coming to us from Raegan Moses. He's the first person to submit a question to us. Very excited about this. And let's hear what he had to say or ask.
Hi, Birds and Bitcoins. This is Raegan Moses here. I'm one of the biggest Bitcoin maximalists around in the world, and I would like to ask you a question. So when do you think one Bitcoin will be worth $1 million? I know it's going to happen eventually. Maybe it's going to happen within a year, 2, 5, or 10, but I know it's going to happen. So my question to you is, when will one Bitcoin be worth $1 million? Please give me a prediction. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, birds and Bitcoins.
Okay, so he's a Bitcoin maximalist, and he wants to know, when do we believe Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million? He said 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years. I think it's an interesting question. Well, let's start with this first, Jay. Do you believe that Bitcoin will hit $1 million?
Now that's a good question. Will and can are two different things. Mathematically, it could have the potential. I think in order for do that, you'd have to have countries actually adopt it as a currency. And then from there, if you're subdividing, each Bitcoin into 100 million Satoshis, and that's basically your currency is that you're dealing in Satoshis, not really Bitcoin. If you get a couple billion people using Bitcoin at a fractional level, yes, then it has the potential to hit $1 million. I don't think, I don't want to say that in my lifetime it's not going to happen, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm going to totally disagree with literally everything that you said there, which is good because I love when I disagree with you. But the thing about it is that I don't believe that it has to be I'm trying to look up some research here while we're talking. I don't believe that there is a need for it to become a currency for it to reach $1 million. I would actually say reaching $1 million as a currency would be more difficult than another way that it could go. And the reason would be is, how is it going to be a currency if it's going to be so volatile that it can get to $1 million? Like that's incredible amount of volatility from where we're at now. What retailer is going to want to take something that can gain 10% in the same day as it could lose 50%, like we saw a couple weeks ago? I think its best track to getting to $1 million is being an alternative to gold. What do you think?
Well, now what about, I was just kind of thinking of something a little differently there, but if a country uses Bitcoin as a currency, and this was my thought on it, with the subdivision of all the Satoshis, and you've got 100 million. I mean, at that point, the fractional use that you would require, I don't know, man. I feel like maybe that I'm not thinking about this right. And so,
well, it just seems like if it was a currency and like India were using it, 1.3 billion people were using it as a currency, that the value would be up super high. I just don't think it's ever going to be a currency. I don't believe it's ever going to be a currency. So
I don't. I agree with you there. I don't actually think that it would become a currency. But I think that if it did, and then you start to see more countries accept it, I think that would take the volatility out of it. Because there's less to go around.
Right, but this is where that kind of argument doesn't really make sense to me, because if we're removing the volatility from it, okay, but we're saying like, okay, but to get to a point where we can remove the volatility, it's got to be extremely volatile, then people along the way are going to be adopting other currencies in that meantime.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I
mean, because the thing is, you can't be so short-sighted into thinking Bitcoin is the only thing, but you kind of have to. It is the king. So I mean, all of this conversation aside, I am a store of value believer. I think that that's what Bitcoin is going to be. It's going to be a digital gold. That's where we're going. That's what it is. If we switch to a digital currency worldwide, it will not be Bitcoin. That's my opinion. Yeah. I think that there are better, faster, more versatile projects out there, tokens, coins, whatever, that would be a better alternative to a currency for the world.
So somebody math check me on this, okay? But it says that there's 171,300 tons of gold in the world, okay? So that means that that would be 2,000 pounds is a ton, right? So that would mean 171,000.3 or 171,300 tons times 2,000, okay, means that there is 342 million pounds of gold, okay? When you break that number down, this is very interesting. This is very interesting, okay? When you divide that by 16, right? Because each pound of gold is worth 16 ounces, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you divide that by 16, guess how many ounces of gold are in the world? This is fascinating.
21 million.
Absolutely. Yeah, a little over 21
Shut up.
million. 21.4 million. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's crazy,
insane,
dude.
isn't it? Okay, so let's take this math a little bit further, okay? So what is the price of gold per ounce right now? And isn't it like $1,500 or something? I think price of gold per ounce. Now this may not be
1591 as the time of recording.
Okay. So 21.4 million divided by 1,500, or let's say 1,600. Okay. Would mean, I don't know where the math got there. I got so confused by the fact it's 21 million. It's almost 21 million ounces. That's the long and short. I would really have to kind of sit down and jot this out to really figure my true thoughts on this, because this is really crazy now that I've realized that there's about 21 million ounces of gold in the world. And each ounce is worth...
Pounds or ounces?
Ounces, right?
Okay.
Right? Because you divide it by 16. You divide the amount of pounds by 16 to get the number of ounces, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So about 21 million ounces in the world. So I don't know. That's very interesting stuff when you look at it.
Is that a coincidence?
I don't know. This is very interesting because I wonder how much of that gold has been mined in the last, since Bitcoin was created. Maybe when Bitcoin was created, there was about 21 million ounces of gold in the world. This is fascinating. We're going to have to explore this further on a different episode. But the point here is you believe that maybe in your lifetime it can get to 21 million. I believe that it can get to $1 million. Bitcoin can. I believe that it will get to $1 million. I think that we've never seen anything like it that is this rare, where you can split a Bitcoin into many, many, many more fractions than you can really split gold and it still be able to keep its value. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that means there's a bigger opportunity for people to own it. And it's still scarce at the same time. And I think that there's a lot of factors involved here. Plus, when we're talking about the future of the world is digital, there's a way that, people can digitally own something similar to gold as opposed to having, a bullion cube in their freaking safe or something.
Bullion.
I don't even know what bullion is, but regardless, I think that it will. And if you ask me to put a date on it, I believe probably the number is about 7 to 10 years. I think in 7 to 10 years, we will be looking at $1 million Bitcoin. I think it's after this next bull run Bitcoin goes on, I still believe Bitcoin will be well over $100,000. Mm-hmm. I think that by the next run after that, it could be approaching $1 million. So I wonder
hodl with your strong hand.
Hodl with your strong hand. I wonder what the Bitcoin stock to flow. Let me look up the stock to flow chart and see if it says Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million. That would be very interesting. So let me check that out real quick. And I'll give you an exact number on that prediction. So according to the Bitcoin stock to flow chart, Bitcoin will hit $1 million in, God, this is crazy. It's crazy. You want to hear it?
2025.
2025. Yeah, 2025.
Wow.
So we'll have to see if Bitcoin can stick to the stock to flow chart, get over $100,000 in the next run. Then by 2025, you are looking at possibly $1 million Bitcoin. That is insane. So crazy.
Dang.
Yeah. So I do believe it will happen. Now, once again, if you guys want to hit us up with a question, make sure you guys head on over to ask.beards.live. And we assume we'll probably be getting a decent amount of these requests. So because of that, we can't guarantee we'll answer everybody's questions. But, Raegan was the first guy to get his question on, so we appreciate him.
But we'll get to you. We'll get to you at some point. Even if we do a live stream and all we do is answer questions, we'll get to you.
Yeah, we'll try to get – yeah, absolutely. How about that? We will answer all questions. I like that, Jay. Okay, guys. So let's move on. Let's move on to everybody's favorite part. Manspreading.
All right, guys. For Manspreading today, we are talking about a subculture, some pop culture, if you don't know what this is, what are you even doing with your life?
Yeah.
Recently on, actually, so I don't know when it came out because I don't think it just came out.
About 10 days ago, I think.
So about 10 days ago, a documentary came out about the wildest subculture in America you could even imagine. It's these people that are big cat people. They have private zoos, and they are all insane. And for the record, Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Absolutely. Spoiler alert on that.
Spoiler alert. So we're talking about Tiger King, Joe Exotic, the weirdest bunch of people I think any of us have ever.
Bunch of meth heads, for sure.
Dude, the one dude who has all the tattoos who decides not to wear a shirt the whole series is just ridiculous.
He was upset. He was upset with them after it. His name is something Finley. I can't remember his first name.
John Finley?
John Finley. He was upset because he had new teeth and had done newer interviews with them, and they only showed the older ones. They wouldn't show the interviews with the new teeth.
Oh man, this is like so. Talk to me. Have you ever been up close and personal with a lion, a tiger, a cheetah, liger?
I have not been up close and personal with one, but I have. I actually got really fascinated with ligers. I really did. I went through a little phase for about a month where I was obsessed with crossbred animals because I didn't know this was a thing that existed. And so a lot of people know Napoleon Dynamite. There's a part where he's like, my favorite animal is a liger. And I thought a liger was like a myth, like a mythical, like, I don't know, like a lion.
Like a minotaur?
Yeah, something like that. And so I started doing research into it. And when I discovered it was a real animal, I was shocked. And so I started really looking into it, and like I know a lot about crossbred animals. Actually, here's one for you. Do you know what the only crossbred animal in the world is that occurs naturally? That literally in nature you can find these.
Can you give me just a little bit of a hint?
It's a bear.
A grizzly bear?
Well, that's part of it.
My mind's blown. I have no idea. Go for it.
It's a growler bear. It's a cross between a grizzly bear and a polar bear. Some people call it a growler bear. Some people call it a prizzly bear. Okay? But this is real. This is the only crossbred animal that they will actually mate with each other in the wild. And the reason for this is because grizzly bears traveled so far north that the polar bear is actually a descendant of the grizzly bear.
Really?
So, yeah. Polar bear is a descendant of.
You learn something new. You learn something new every day here on the show.
I told you I was obsessed with these animals for a while, and so like with ligers, there's actually like a whole nother range of animals. There's something called a liger, a tie liger, and then there's like ligons and tigons. It all depends on who the male is and who the female is. So a liger, I believe, is a female tiger and a male lion, I think. Or maybe it's whatever it is, there's a specific type of breeding that has to occur to create a liger. So I got really fascinated with these. So the opposite one is called a tigon. So I think it's a female tiger and a male lion because that would produce the biggest animal, I believe. And then the other one is the opposite, and it's called a tigon. So I got really obsessed with these, and I actually found a local place to me in Georgia that has a liger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called Pine Mountain Rescue, or Pine Mountain Animal Safari or something. So my wife and I went to it, and it's a drive-through petting zoo. So you're like you're feeding bison and buffalo and all kind gazelles and all this stuff out your car. And then they have a liger cage, and you get to see the liger. So I've been pretty close to one, but it wasn't like you see on this show where you're like doing animal experiences. I actually so when I was doing the liger research, I came across Doc Antle, who is in the documentary.
So you knew this guy before the documentary.
I didn't know his name. I didn't know he was a significant person. But when I looked up liger photos, originally started getting into this, his liger is the biggest one. And so that was the one that it would show him all the time. And I recognized him in the documentary. I'm like, that's the guy from the liger, And he has an animal reserve in South Carolina in Myrtle
Right.
Beach. And I almost went to it one time. We were in Myrtle Beach and almost went, but it was just, like they said, I think it's like $600 or $800 a person. Like it's really expensive to go to. It's not like paying $50. So we ended up not going because it was too expensive for my family to go or whatever. Now I'm wishing we would have went so I could realize that I was in the midst of his harem.
Yeah, right. Man, so here's a really quick thing about this. This is like it was like we binged the entire thing, 7 episodes straight. Yeah. Just it was like a Sunday. Like I could not stop watching it. It was just such a train wreck, and it was so amazing at the same time. But come to find out, my brother, remember the producer guy? I forget his name. He was the one sitting there with the cigarettes and the coffee with the hat.
Yeah.
So he's the one who filmed the reality show that they were doing on the ranch.
And also probably the one that burned down the studio.
Yes, probably. You know what?
Are you going to say something about that?
We could maybe get some information about this. My brother went to college with a guy who worked for him, and he actually filmed the show.
Wow.
Yeah, not the Netflix documentary. He worked for that producer guy, so he was the one who filmed the reality show where all the footage got burnt down.
Okay, so check this out. Here's some interesting information for you. Let me look up his name real quick so we're not butchering this. Let's see. I'm looking this up right now for you guys because I want to get his name. I think it's Rick something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or Reinhorn or something like that. Rick Kirkham. That's his name.
Rick Kirkham.
Rick Kirkham. Okay. So here, this is going to really add a little fuel to the fire here for you. Okay. He currently has been living, I think it is in Denmark. He's living somewhere overseas. He's no longer in America at all. Okay. 6 months after the Tiger King studio burned down, his own house burned down.
Oh no.
Yes, his own house burned down. And if you watch the documentary, it talks about in there how he was seen on the security camera. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this yet, but he was seen on the security camera, walking towards the studio the same night. And he denied it. Said, "Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I?" And then his own house burned down 6 months later, and now he's out of the country. So you can add, 2 and 2 here. I mean, really, the truth is he probably burned it down. This is such a this is the least interesting thing to talk about in this documentary we're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's all just crazy, man.
Yeah. So we want to do a little poll here, and we wanted to ask the question. We want to know, what is your favorite big cat? What is your favorite big cat, Jay?
Ooh, there are so many good choices. I think that my favorite big cat would be the Bengal tiger.
The Bengal tiger.
Just based on the way it looks. I've always loved the way that they look.
Yeah. Tigers are a great choice. I mean, you got some interesting choices here. You got tigers, they're like the stalkers of the jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got lions. You can't really go wrong with a lion. I mean, it's the crypto.com logo, I mean, lions, one of the most interesting things to me about lions is their tongues. That sounded kinky, I think.
Wow.
I'm not
let me hear about this. I want to hear about it.
I love their tongues, and I'm not even lying about it. The lion's tongue is as hard as sandpaper, and it has little spikes on it. A lion can completely lick meat to the bone in just a few licks.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. How
do they not cut the roof of their mouth?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they don't do it, but I think it's something crazy like 5 licks a lion can take meat to the bone. So that's how powerful the lion's tongue is. So it's definitely very interesting. I know some of you ladies are probably interested in this now, but well, I mean, because there's no way to turn that into a non-sexual reference. We're just going to roll with it, I think, guys. Speaking of sexual references, you also have the cougar, right?
Oh, you know what? That should have been my pick, but I'm going to stick with the Bengal tiger.
It should have been your pick, I think. Yeah, stick with the Bengal tiger. Cougars are also interesting because they live here in America. It's the only one of the big cats that, is really prevalent here. Like in California, there was a guy that killed a cougar's a mountain lion, also is another way to say that. So a guy killed a mountain lion out in California with his bare hands. It turned out it was just a baby. It was just a little bitty one. He was like this hero. People were like, he fought off a mountain lion. Then people were like, it was like 3 months old. So, but they're ferocious. They will kill you. But I'm going with my favorite one is the one you definitely do not want to play cards with.
A cheetah?
Yeah, that's right. A cheetah. You definitely do not want to play cards with a cheetah. But cheetahs are really interesting to me because they are so freaking fast. You don't really get, I think, a good picture of how fast these things are. And there's a video that I saw recently on YouTube that showed one like standing around a bunch of people. Like it's one that's in captivity or whatever. And it has the world's record for fastest cheetah. And you can see what they do is they drag something that looks like a rabbit around and they chase it, kind of like with dog races or whatever. And you can see the faster they drag that thing, that cheetah can just keep ratcheting up the speed. It can just, and
Wow.
you see it visually. You say, oh my God, it just sped up. I think they run like 60 miles per hour.
Wow, that's insane. Could you imagine that thing just coming right at you?
It could run with a car on the interstate.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's how fast they are.
Oh my God. No, thank you.
And I actually just watched this video this week. Again, I watched it again to check it out. And it is just so crazy to visually see that animal that's already running so fast pick it up. And you can see it when it happens too. It's amazing. So I'm going with cheetah, but let's throw this on the poll this week, guys. We're going to throw up the poll. What is your favorite big cat? Is it a lion? Is it a tiger? Is it a cheetah? Or is it a cougar? We know cats aren't that manly. Okay. I'm a dog guy. Okay.
Yeah.
But big cats are sexy.
Big cats.
Big cats are sexy.
Big cats.
Big cats.
Yeah. So make sure you hop on that Twitter poll. You can find our, if you're not friends with us or following us on Twitter, our handle is @BeardsBitcoins. That poll will be out later this week. So
Absolutely.
Get your vote in. Get your vote in.
Get your vote in. Well, that is going to wrap the show up today. It's been an action-packed, power-packed show today. Thank you for listening.
New segments, announcements. It was a good one.
Everything. It was great. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it. But guys, thank you so much for listening to Beards and Bitcoins, the crypto podcast for the man's man and the ladies who love them. Each week, we are bringing you guys news, information, and stories to spread awareness about cryptocurrency, and we're not nerds.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do us a solid. Leave us a rating, review on your preferred platform that you get your podcasts. Also, you could help us spread the word of the show by sharing your favorite Beards and Bitcoins podcast episodes on your social media.
That is right. Don't forget to visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com, and make sure to join our Telegram group today. Also, make sure to check out the website for our new selection of merch. Team BitBoy signing off.
Team J-Chains are going to win this game.
Yeah, pick your winner. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. We will see you guys later.